the next other thing, please, guys, this one I see very often, very often. Please don't submit 0 returns. Hey honeys, welcome to the Empowerment Family. So this year we are empowering people, we're changing lives, we are making game-changing moves this year, right? We are becoming millionaires, we're building millionaires rather. And yeah, this year I literally just want to talk about shifting dimensions, growing, and making sure that you're getting to a place where you are comfortable in life. I mean, I'm not saying comfortable as in like, let me chill, I made it. We don't chill, we keep moving, honey, we keep moving. And this year, that is basically the year that we are doing that and we are conquering. I mean, the past 2 years have been very hectic because we've been experiencing like this COVID thing, and it has brought about so many uncertainties, so much mental health issues. There are so many things that have happened, but then now I've decided I am going to come up with a series, or I'm going to have a series of videos where I am going to be talking about a business, building a brand for yourself in your business, creating a business that is sustainable, that can employ, and that has a clientele. Right. Are we ready? I hope you guys are ready. So in the first video of the series, the first thing I want to talk about is literally how to start a business. There are some things I won't touch on because there's so many YouTube videos, so many other videos and resources literally that you can read to get information on how you go about starting a business, you know. But in this video I just want to touch about like the things from a compliance perspective that you need to have in check for you to actually start a business, and make sure that you're not getting into trouble later on, or you're not incurring a lot more costs because you didn't consider these things in the beginning. Now it's so expensive at the end, or in the middle, or wherever. Because let's not say at the end, because we're not trying to have the business end, right? We're trying to build sustainable businesses. We're trying to build businesses that will employ, businesses that will feed families, and businesses that will carry on from generation to generation. All right, I've spoken too much, and I think now it's time that we get into the purpose of the video. So the first thing I actually want to address is registering a company, right? When you register a company, there are a lot of videos on YouTube. I'm not going to tell you how to register a company, but there are a lot of videos on YouTube on how to register a company, and also resources on the internet on how to register a company. And if you don't want to register a company yourself, there are also a whole lot of other people that you can pay to help you register a company, me being one of them. But I actually want to talk about the legalities and compliance factors of registering a company. So when you are registering a company, you're basically going onto your CIPC site to book a name, or to reserve a name. Sure, book a name, but yeah, to reserve a name. And in that reservation, what you're basically saying is, this is a name I'm using, and I'm going to be trading under the name, or I'm going to legally be owning this name, so anybody else cannot use it, right? And before you even do that, I think another thing that you just need to understand, I mean, we can check the validity and accuracy of this, but there is also another side of things where there's a company that would register a name which is different, so that would be their legal name, and then they trade in a different name, and most times that trading name that they use to trade in is a name that they would have patented. So now there is a patent against this name, but this name is not registered on CIPC. So when you're doing your reservations, or you're trying to book a name, you're going to find that the name does allow you to register it, but now that this name is patented, you're actually legally not allowed to use it. So from a registering a company or registering a company name perspective, I just wanted to deal with that legal side of things, that when you register a company, and I mean, this is something that's not spoken about very often, which is why other people get into trouble and have to abandon their brands and now build a new clientele because the brand doesn't belong to them. So when you register a company, there is on the intellectual property, like not on the intellectual property, the CIPC has like intellectual property that has been registered, so they should be able to give you information on whether you can use certain names or not. So please do make sure that you verify that the name that you are using is not patented or whatever, so that when you register it, you're obviously the first person to register that name, and you're the first person to trade under that name, and you're the first person to actually brand that name. Because then if somebody registers it or brands it later, then you are able to claim from them either, I don't know, some sort of compensation from benefiting from your brand or benefiting from your company name or whatever. But my biggest worry and what I've seen happen is I've had people come to me and they're like, what do I need to do? And obviously I'm not a legal expert. I will refer you to a legal expert if you need a legal expert to deal with this matter. They come to me, hey, so I had a company, and because I didn't know how this business is gonna go, I didn't register the name, so I just started doing business and I've branded my things in that company name. And now I have a letter of demand or some sort of letter, honey, and they are demanding that I stop trading, or yeah, like there are some weird designs. Other people are demanded to now become employees, or literally, yeah. So you would have worked hard for a business or to establish a business or establish a brand, just to have somebody come later. Oh, there was a spray there, so we have like that automatic spray in the house. So yeah, just to have somebody come back later to you and say, hey, that is my brand, I did this first, so you owe me, or let's, you know, take you to court. And you don't want to be in a position where they're literally taking you to court for a business that you built and you didn't know that it's registered. And I mean, it's very easy to register a company name that has been patented, and obviously because you don't have the information, you think all is well, only for somebody to come back later and say, hey, that is my name, or whatever the case may be. So I'm just sending out some information, sharing some information to say, hey, before you even register that name, even though it's available for reservation or whatever, just make sure that that name is not patented or trademarked, or there's some sort of right of use limitation on that name, right? Okay, so that is the first thing I want to deal with in terms of registering the company name. The second thing, and this I come across very, very often, make sure that in the very beginning, you are keeping track of your financial records. Please keep track of your financial records, whether you do it on an accounting system, whether you do it on a spreadsheet or whatever. Please make sure that you keep track of your financial records, because what happens is, and this is a very, very common issue that I come across, people come back to us 3 years later, 4 years later, and they're like, hey, I need financial statements. Hey, I need to submit my returns to SARS. SARS is issuing me letters of demand. Or, hey, like, there are so many things that are happening that now they are so stressed, they are so under pressure, right? And then when they come to us, we just like, well, did you keep record of your financial transactions? Do you have your invoices kept somewhere? Like, what is it that you have that we can use? And a lot of them are just like bank statement. This is what we have, and like the last few invoices from yesterday, today, tomorrow, you know. And as accountants, you just like, this is a serious problem. And I mean, it ends up costing you a lot more, because to get somebody to fix that problem for you properly, and I'm talking about properly and not people who are just literally taking you for a ride and creating numbers, because I can tell you, in the industry, there are accountants that don't follow ethical standards, that don't do things in accordance to, I mean, how they need to do things. And most times that would generally happen because they underpriced you or they underquoted you. But then now when you are underpriced and the person does the work and that work is actually not up to standard, later on you have other problems, you know. And this problem is basically just stemming from the fact that you didn't have financial records or bookkeeping, some type of record keeping from the beginning of time. And please note that if you don't have any record keeping, already in itself it's a problem, because already you are not complying with the Companies Act, because the Companies Act does require you to actually keep track of your financial records. That is pure a Companies Act requirement. So yeah, that is the second thing I want you to always note. Make sure that you keep, if you have to get quotations from bookkeepers, like whether you get it from me or somebody else, it's okay, but just make sure that your financial records are in order, because with these financial records, you are going to need them to submit your SARS taxes. And if SARS asks or requires a verification after you've done your SARS submission, I can tell you it's going to be so hard for you to submit supporting documentation if you haven't kept a record of your financials. And then now SARS is going to investigate you. You're gonna have penalties. You're gonna have a whole lot of things that might just affect your business negatively and affect your cash flow negatively. So already from the beginning, make sure that you've dealt that with that. Your financial records are in order. The next other thing, please, guys, this one I see very often, very often. Please don't submit zero returns. If you either have employees and you registered for employee tax, you registered for VAT, and they have been sales or expenses that have been going through the business, and also you have had like transactions going through the company that obviously affects income tax. Please don't submit zero returns, please. And yeah, I've seen that so many times. And now when we're supposed to go back and reopen SARS periods, there are going to be, and SARS is now very much more serious, there are going to be so many penalties that are going to be levied. You're going to now you incurring these other financial consequences that you wouldn't have incurred had you done things right from the beginning. So now your cash flows are going to be negatively affected by these type of things. So yeah, at this point I think the video is long enough. I've mentioned 3 points that you need to reflect on when you start a business, and this is going to be a series of videos. I know we can't keep our focus for too long. That is why I'm going to cut it off here, and then I'll continue with the next points in the next video, and the next video, and the next video. And it's just going to be a series of me dropping all these stuff or this information for all those people that hope to start a business and run a business. So yes, just to summarize or to reflect on what we've spoken about before I close this off, is when registering a company, always make sure that the company name that you're registering is not patented, is not registered by somebody, or it's got it doesn't have a limitation to use in terms of who can use it. The second thing, please make sure that your bookkeeping records or your record keeping systems or controls are in place to make sure that you're not dealing with other consequences, because I can tell you the fact that you don't have record keeping spirals into so many other different problems. The third thing, please make sure that when you're doing your SARS returns, you are not submitting zero returns, because that is tax evasion, and tax evasion is illegal, you know, and that could have other dire consequences that you actually didn't intend on having. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. And I'm actually going to be recording all these videos all in one day, so you're going to see me the same, very same. It's just a continuation, and I'll greet you again in the next video and say bye again in the next video. All right, cheers.